What's happening, class? I don't know about you, but I hate the winter. I hate it so much, I get chills just thinking about it. I hate it so much, I wear flip-flops in the winter as a silent protest to the season. I'll stop, I'm not funny, it's fine. As much as I hate it, I also hate to see what's happening to it as a result of continued climate change. Warm weather has been a staple of this winter season, and increasing temperatures year-round has been a growing trend as the years have gone on. In this episode of Equals 3, I'll be looking at how the lackluster fight and regulation against climate change globally perpetuates global inequality and violations of human rights. Yes, I went outside. You notice anything weird yet? Here, I'll give you a hint. Last hint. I'm wearing a t-shirt and shorts in winter. Where is the snow? Why is it not cold? It's March 6th, 2024. Middle of winter. I'm sick. And look where I am. And it's beautiful. Why? And while it's nice for me, I get to show off my beautiful hairy legs for everyone to see, it's not equally nice for everyone. And no, it's not because other people are forced to see my hairy legs. That's a privilege I'm still yet to get paid for, but that's besides the point. There are actually a lot of issues that come with these shortened winters and higher temperatures, and they affect everyone. They affect you, they affect me, they affect the rich, they affect the poor. That being said, the effects are felt and contributed to extremely disproportionately, with the upper class contributing far more to the creation of climate change, while the effects are felt extremely disproportionately more by people of lower income. I think my neighbors are watching me. Let's go inside. So, why do the wealthy contribute more to climate change than the middle and lower class? They contribute so much more due to a combination of much greater consumption of things such as gas and fuel, much more travel, much more and larger homes, which use much more energy, as well as vehicles that use much more energy. And they also give a huge amount of money and just general contribution to massive corporations, which are known to do majority of CO2 pollution. To put this in perspective, according to a study, in 2019 the global bottom 50% on the economic ladder emitted 11.5% of global emissions per year, while the top 10% emit a massive 28.9%. Additionally, the top 1% emitted 16.9% of total global emissions on their own. The effects of this disparity in contribution are made especially evident when looking at the effects of this both economically and in terms of general human rights. The effects of climate change are felt vastly more by those less capable of protecting themselves. For example, increasing heat and more violent weather can be catastrophic to them, despite them having the smallest part of anyone in these events occurring. For example, when looking at developing countries, rising heat and more violent weather conditions makes the environment more prone to things like vector-borne diseases, droughts, flooding, hurricanes, and crop shortages. While, on the other hand, the wealthy barely feel the effects of these and often end up ignoring them completely, instead opting to stuff their pockets. What I find to be a core issue on this, especially in regards to human rights, is that so little is being done to stop this. Things like carbon taxes and environmental initiatives have been implemented, yet we see little to no change and see no major polluters being forced into change. This is because the taxes being placed on them for violating these emission regulations are still so small that it makes more sense for them to keep violating these emission regulations, as they would still be making more money doing so than by actually changing. This is at the expense of the less wealthy, both economically and for their general well-being worldwide. So, why are governments worldwide choosing to neglect the well-being of the majority of their populations in favor of the wealthy? Comes down to money. This creates a vicious and abusive cycle where the wealthy are making it harder every year for the less wealthy to not only attempt to escape poverty, but to survive. The resources for the working class and lower class become more and more scarce, with ways to help escape this cycle becoming increasingly more difficult, while the wealth of the rich continues to snowball. We can personally see these effects today, with the prices of things affected by climate change, such as food and energy, and other goods rising, while wealth for the middle and lower class is growing significantly slower than that of the upper class, and debt is rising faster for the middle and lower class than it is for the upper class, making these necessities increasingly more difficult to attain, especially for those who need them most. There are a few things that I think should be done to reduce this massive inequality and to protect those who need it. Firstly, we need to make climate action more aggressive and equitable. This means raising taxes on the largest polluters to the point that they can no longer ignore them. It also means closing the loopholes to these taxes that many of the wealthiest people in the world, including former President Donald Trump, have admitted to using. It must also be made clear that global warming is not simply an environmental issue. It is a social and global justice issue where majority of the population are suffering and will continue to suffer largely at the hands of the rich and greedy. In this episode of Equals 3, I hope to have shown you that climate change is not simply a matter of hot and cold. It's a matter of massive economic disparity and abuse, of increasing social inequality and the continual and growing suffering of those most in need of help, and increasingly of us as well. If we want change, we have to force our leaders to make that change and contribute to that change in our daily lives. Whether that's joining campaigns, whether that's recycling, or even being more prominent in our community, if we want change, we have to be that change.